I'm Margaret in Windsor, and I've got a lot of YouTubes up, and right now my Facebook has been hacked. So I put all this about being kidnapped and who my parents are uh, from Buckingham Palace in 41 at age 2, brought to the United States and given the name of a twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey. I married at Childers. I still have to use this person's name. The twins were both dead. They were born out of wedlock. Their mother, Lina Dempsey, killed them, and this is where I was dropped off with this bunch of thugs and killers and a life that was holy hell. There's no other word. You can sugarcoat and tell me not to use descriptive words. Excuse me, maybe you better walk one block or inch in my shoes. Anyway, for some reason in all this, I wrote about mind control. I work for doctors. Larry McDonald, U.S. Congressman, doctor, whose plane went down August the 31st of 83. The Korea jet that was passenger plane was shot down by the Soviets when it veered into their airspace. And I was flown out to Flint, and everybody knows that Larry Flint was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia. His attorney killed, and the person was programmed to shoot him. So Mr. Flint did an endorsement, and I was flown out there. I became a candidate, and I'm telling you this just to give you a little background. So I didn't see Mr. Flynn after then. October of 83, I was flown out to his home twice, and I didn't win the campaign. In fact, my life has been homeless, bag lady. The day I was born, I was probably the wealthiest woman on the planet. But they made a pauper out of me. Took my father down illegally with lies and my mom and kidnapped me. The Illuminati, the Jews, the Bilderbergers. Joe Kennedy was ambassador appointed by Roosevelt and my own uncle, illegal George VI. Now I want to get into this. I am allergic to chemicals. My immune system attacks itself when I'm around toxic fumes. Especially when they're deliberately done, and they run me that way. Somebody asked me, was I running from the law? Because to keep off the side of the road and have a place, all it takes is a phone call, believe you me. If you've been targeted and who I am, they've had a joke out of it. And this is, anyway, I just want to get this one up. Oh, I have tried to leave Roanoke, and I've had to come back for the same reasons. They got me there, and law enforcement shoes me, oh, that's a cute little word, back here, where I'm running around. And from the chemicals I've had to inhale and the inflammation, every organ in my body has been attacked and is bad. And I won't get into it. I can hardly walk. But what I want to tell here is that in my job search, home search, I was led into finding out information that can't be refuted because it happened and it can be proven, timeline and all. So I'm not going to get into the other part of it, but I am going to say this because I'm just about dead anyway. The last years when I found my way to Roanoke in '86, and when I finally got some money and got off the trail, Appalachian Trail, and out of the tent a little bit, and then they'd run me and soak me with chemicals and fumes. And believing me, law enforcement, especially this agency, which may have saved my life, it's a hell of a life. Who do you think's doing all this, people? I've been telling you this. I had a letter from the FBI about ongoing investigation, national security involved, June the 23rd of 79, William Harper, U.S. Attorney out of Atlanta. And April Fool's Day, I was almost killed. So I've put all this up. But the mind control murders I've wrote about, Virginia Tech tried to, and the book's unpublished. And it gets into a list of celebrities, etc. Mind control was used on as a murder weapon. It's hard to prove it because it's invisible, but what I wanted to get up here, was, I'm going to go ahead and put it, I put it up before. I thought that John Edwards, state senator here in Virginia, was my friend. He certainly knows about my kidnapping and my real name. I've been in his office. When I called on the phone on a Saturday morning for the first time before I ever met him, he answered the phone, and he told me he knew. It was nice on the phone. But anyway, I've been in and out of his office, and next door is Goodlatte. And he was over the forestry and agriculture, the committee, when all this happened to me with the rangers and being shooed, they call it. Oh, you should see what happened to me. Walking the trail, every line the book told about me while I froze and starved, and nobody would help me. So now I want to get to this. He was head of that, Bob Goodlatte. I was in his office. His office is side by side with John Edwards, the Virginia state senator. I went in there the last time I went into Goodlatte's office, and it did me no good. I didn't see Goodlatte. I walked out to get on the elevator, and the guy walked out behind me from Goodlatte's office. He got on the elevator, and he said, "Lady, Goodlatte said if he helped you, he would be living in the forest too, with you." So now then, Goodlatte is over your intelligence committee, and I think a couple of them. I know he's over two very, very important committees, as high up as you go. Now then, the point I wanted to make, the people I thought were my friends, the former governors of Virginia, and I'm talking about Kane, I'm talking about Mark Warner, I think's his name, ex-governor, they're Democrats. So they're in with Terry McAuliffe, who's the Democrat governor, who was on staff with Hillary Clinton and her husband as governor. And by the way, they're part of the New World Order. They call it the establishment. They're the people that kidnapped me, the Illuminati, the Jews, the Rothschilds, Rockefeller, that control your press. Now then, what I wanted to get to is right here in Roanoke, the Patels and the Shaws, S-H-A-H, own everything around here. Motel, the property, which is really expensive here in Roanoke. And I remember begging them. I had money finally, and it was November, a little money, and I paid for the month at budget in. And I remember telling him that Patel, that I was allergic to chemicals, and explained it. Well, 2 days later, or 3, he knocks at the door, and they're going to come in and paint and everything. Well, I call the cops. The cops come out and say they'll handcuff me. Oh, you better believe it. And he pretended to handcuff me. He said I was the one that would have to leave. When the cop left, the Patel said to me, "We're Americans now. We have to do what they tell us to do." I left with a month left almost in rent that I hadn't used. And that's happened more than I can tell you. But they own everything around here, and they, among some others, that take their orders from law enforcement who gets things on them or on their kids and compromise them. They don't have to be compromised, but they do things with the chemicals, and God knows I hope I live to see it all told. I really do. Nobody's paid for any crimes against me. But what I wanted to say here was the Patels, there was a page in a couple last year, well, maybe 2 years ago now, where Shaw opened another really nice motel here in Roanoke. Well, it had had Goodlatte and Edwards, and if they didn't show up, they sent their best wishes and all this. They had a banquet and called him an entrepreneur and all this. Well, I'm called garbage, and I paid for this hell. My money came into here. I'm a hostage here. I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, Victoria II, heir to the British crown. And you all, and don't excuse my language, I beat the shit out of me all my life. And I hope there's a God that can protect me and get you back. I can't. Anyway, they have watched me run. I'm a joke. I'm really a